one of the things that people are always interested in, obviously, is the Terra expedition, the race for the pole. Amundsen's team, obviously, getting there first, but then Scots' Terra expedition, famous for getting the silver medal, right? Only about 5 weeks behind Amundsen, and then these guys all perished on the way back. But this was a big, a thing we were really excited about, to get some of the actual equipment that was from this expedition. I mean, so this is the sledge that they were using, because these guys, British stiff upper lip, they're hauling everything by hand. They're not using the dogs to get down to the pole. We've got a lot of their old gear as well.
It's so bizarre because, we took an icebreaker into DDU, the French base, for some of the filming. And the guys had to haul, because the icebreaker can only get into about 100 miles, and they still had to haul stuff the same way. It's crazy.
That even though they're kind of racing, trying to get back to camp, trying to make it through in this blizzard and these icy conditions, so they're getting rid of anything they don't need, that they don't want to carry. Right. But one of the things they hang on to are all these plant fossils from near the head of the Beardmore Glacier, where we still go and collect fossils and vertebrates today. The Terra expedition had a big science component, so they weren't just racing for the pole. They had a lot of surveying they were doing, a lot of geological, meteorological measurements. And one of the things that this guy, we've got some of his gear, aptly Gerard, he and two of his colleagues actually made a trek across Ross Island from Cape Evans to Cape Crozier, about 60 miles to where there's an emperor penguin colony that nests there. And emperor penguins are the only ones that basically nest and brood over the winter. So they're doing this in pitch dark.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Minus 40, minus 50 degrees, hauling those sledges across the ice. He wrote a book about it called The Worst Journey in the World, which gives you an inkling of what he thought.
What was going on, right, exactly. That's amazing. So where they landed and where they crossed, because McMurdo, the United States station, is there, right?
It's still right near. They were not. So Discovery Hut, one of the Scott's earlier huts, is right on that point by McMurdo. Right. Cape Evans is not far away, maybe 10 miles away. Still kind of on that side of Ross Island. Yeah. But they had to kind of go all the way across to get to those emperor penguins, and they were after the eggs. They were actually really interested in learning more about the embryology of penguins and how penguins develop. They thought that would yield some insight into the evolutionary history of penguins and kind of provide a missing link.
So if they're there during the winter, and that's when they reproduce and they hatch during the winter?
As we come into spring. But the eggs are laid, and the males will start incubating.
The Adelie show up in the spring, in the sunlight, and
they've got the Adelies have it better figured out, I think. The emperors are the only ones that are doing that in the winter. And Apsley, I think, even wrote in his book at one point saying kind of like, I don't think any creature on Earth has it worse than the emperor penguin.
Gosh, oh my gosh, that's amazing. That's fascinating.
Yeah, he actually cracked some of his teeth because it was so cold and so shivering, but they did come back with 3 eggs.
Oh my God, that's amazing. That is so impressive. I want one of those.
Yeah, you gotta go to DC to the United States Antarctic program.
I'm off to DC this week, and I'm going to be sharing it with the National Science Foundation. So hopefully I can snag one of those puppies.
They've got the best swag there for sure.